All right, we are live.
And then we just are quiet.
Right.
I'm never at a loss for words. I'll babble, but anyway, so good.
Yeah. All right, so we're the Sunday Morning Linux Review. I'm Tony Bemis.
Matt Anders.
And Mary Tomich.
And I just doing an intro for the podcast. Usually,
well, wait a minute.
Usually this is on for like 5 minutes before the actual show starts.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, for the prep. Well,
right.
So we haven't really started recording the show yet. You just got this going, and then we're going to be doing that intro all over again, aren't we?
Well, I'm going to run our regular intro.
You mean the new one?
Yeah, our new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a new intro. But we do this live on Saturday mornings, every other Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time. And we are in the Bemis Studios.
Yeah. In lovely Romulus, Michigan.
That's right.
All right.
Oh, I need to get the links and post them in IRC.
Okay. On Google Plus.
Google Plus, yeah.
Is this the chair I've always had?
No, actually, I think you guys are swapped.
I think we swapped chairs because I thought, man, this feels a lot harder than I'm used to.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Do you want to swap chairs?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't feel quite the same. All right, Matt, I warmed it up for you.
All right, I did the same for you.
All right. Oh yeah.
That feels a lot better.
There we go. Yeah, it does. It does for me too. Because I think those arm things are up a little higher, and I just.
Yeah, and the whole thing is higher too,
yeah.
and it's softer for my flat ass.
We'll revisit that. No. All right. So, did you post it yet? Oh, there it is. Is Nancy doing her job?
Yes, she is. What I'm doing right now. I've got the links for the show, and I'm posting it out to people right now. I put it on a bunch of different IRC channels, and I put it on Google Plus.
You guys are going to be getting it. Should I click on it? It's knees.
No, please.
All right, so you about ready?
And here's our new intro.
The Sunday Morning Linux Review with Mary Tomich, Tony Bemis, and Matt Bender.
Bite my 8-bit metal ass. That's bite with a Y.
And this is episode 127.
Localhost.
Localhost.
Great episode name, Tony.
Thanks.
Hats off to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
so-
can't take my hat off today because I have hat hair. So.
You
They're
drove
great.
the convertible in, huh?
Yes, that's right. So
Yeah.
Matt and
Got a
I.
ride in it.
Yeah, Matt and I drove in today in the convert. I went and picked
Cool.
him up at his place of employment, and here we are.
All right.
And I apologize for not turning around. And
Oh, my disclaimer. I have to give that disclaimer.
you have a shirt on?
No, but I have to give my work disclaimer because it says anytime.
Oh, anytime. Okay.
Anytime.
All right. Stand by for disclaimer,
all my
please.
opinions expressed today are those and those of mine alone. They are not any reflection on my employer in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.
All right.
Huh. I hope I don't have to do that.
And who's your employer?
Don't want to say.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
But if they look at the laptop, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking to somebody, and he said, you know, there's so many times Matt has talked about his job, and he goes right up to saying, and I work at, and then he continues on talking. He's like, where does he work? It was funny. Anyway, so message Matt if you want to know where he works.
Maybe I'll tell you. Laptop.
Back to the post. If the loop back is 127.0.0.1. So localhost.
Yep, and that's you'll ping when you're doing your network,
Right.
you know.
And then if you have all you have to do, like in the web browser, say if you have Apache running, all you have to do instead of typing in the website name, type in localhost, and it'll bring up that web page.
Yeah, so all sorts of great things with localhost.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first thing I usually ping is the gateway.
I usually start from the machine and then move out.
First thing I try and get to is the gateway. If I can't get to the gateway,
I
start checking my network settings.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do that first.
Well, but
I think it
really,
depends on what,
127 just tests the TCP
Networking.
stack.
right, and whether that's working.
But even if your Ethernet cable is unplugged, you're still going to be able to ping
Ping
127.
127.
Right,
so
but then you go to
it's-
the next step, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And then you discover
I
that.
skipped that step.
I'm just saying, just in a full set of troubleshooting steps that,
Sure, I guess.
you know.
Sure.
But they're shortcuts, you know, based on your preference. That's how we're gonna end
What do
it.
you ping first?
Google.
You go right for the internet.
Yeah, you grab
No,
something in between, in the middle, and then you work from there out.
Yeah, your gateway.
No, well, that's physically in the middle between you and there. But like if a single
That's
website's
the first thing
out,
I ping too. Actually,
ping
I go to
something else
Yahoo.
in the internet to see if it's the internet problem
ping
or
Yahoo.
if it's a local. You know, then you can go either is it local or is it a
Memorex.
specific website.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I don't
Yeah,
do.
so like if
post
you
first.
have your
just said
stack
that, man,
of
for you.
steps that you take, you grab something in the middle and then you can go up and down from there.
Right. I just started the gateway and worked my way up.
Okay, I usually skip that step too.
All right. Well, we seem to have a difference of opinion.
all right.
So anyway, well,
So
what,
busy 2 weeks. I'm interviewing for a new job, possibly going over to the network team at my work.
so apropos that the name of the show is Localhost.
That's right. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. I actually named it the show 2 weeks ago, and or a week and a half ago or something, and it wasn't until like 2 days ago that I applied and interviewed for the job.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even know it was coming up. So it worked out pretty good.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
At work has been tough. We've been noticing a huge influx of Chinese IPs freaking comment spamming in the websites. And it's just, one of the websites we host was getting so much of it that it was a shared server environment, and it was becoming detrimental to the other clients on the server. So I had to block their entire website. I turned their whole website off, and I said, unless we can get this under control, we're not going to be able to do it. To have your web, it's gonna have to stay down until you can get this under control. Basically, is what I said. And I said, here are your options. These are the IP ranges that are attacking you right now, and we can try and block those in your HT access file, or we can go completely nuclear and block all of China. And he said, nuclear option, nuclear option. So I created an HT access for him. It's about, there are 1,983 network ranges in China. And
Holy
they're
cow.
anything from a /12 to /24. But there are 1,983 network ranges.
Wow.
So you have a long list. Is that one line for every network range?
Yes.
You have to put in that HT access?
Yes.
That's a big
Denied
access file.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So.
And so at that
But,
point, it's
hey,
Apache doing the denial.
Right. They're getting 403s. And you can just as soon as I enabled his HT access and then re-enabled the site and tailed his transfer log just started scrolling right by with all these hits. But all of them 403, 403, 403, 403, 403, 403.
Yeah. Don't those people have anything better to do?
So, well, it's a botnet problem. You know. That's why it doesn't block. It doesn't last for long when you just block the individual ranges that are attacking you, because they just keep hopping around until they find one you're not blocking.
Mm-hmm.
I found a list on the internet though that gave me all the ranges in China.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool.
So he was still getting some. Like there were a couple of Japanese IPs that were comment spamming him too, but not enough to be detrimental. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, good.
You said comment spamming?
Comment spam, yeah.
Yeah,
So
didn't you see those?
Yeah, no, I've seen
nonsensical
it. I
comments.
Seen 100,000 at a minute or whatever come in.
A lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're all dynamic. They're all post hits too, so they take each hit takes a lot of resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, good. I'm glad that you got that under control.
He's happy too because now his website's up and the server's stable.
Excuse me. Sorry for that cough there. Well, what did I do? Well, I kind of didn't do it. Well, I did a lot, but not much related to, open source software, except I keep thinking that I'm going to reduce my PCBSD install to a virtual machine and put this back. And again, the only reason why is because it just runs too hot, and I haven't been able to completely solve that. I've done some Googling and things, but it's still running far too hot than I think it should. And
have you asked in any PCBSD forums?
No, I haven't yet. But because there are other posts there, and so I've kind of been reading through those and looking at the recommendations for for resolving it. But I may even go to the FreeBSD forum because maybe it's at a lower level than, because PCBSD of course is FreeBSD with a layer, desktop layer on it, and it maybe it's even more basic than that. So anyway, so there was that thought process. And then I think on the last episode I said that I was going to review Nix OS, which is a distro based on the Nix package manager. And I started to do that and ran into some difficulties, which I can just mention it now. The networking, it's that Broadcom chip on that laptop. It tends to be a little difficult as far as drivers go, and Nix OS was no exception. And so what happened is that it was just looping, trying to do something, or either, and it was kind of hard to tell because it was at such an early spot in the boot that I couldn't really, unless I Googled the message. I did figure out that it had to do with the network, and so then it stopped, and I got a prompt, and then to start the display manager, you just basically do start display-manager, but nothing happened, and then it started looping again, going back, trying to check it, and I just thought, you know what? There are too many issues here for me to deal with in the time I had, because it was like Tuesday. So I ended up doing another distro, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's kind of fun. I think you guys will enjoy hearing about it, as will our listeners, or our listener.
I have a question with that problem. Is it good to have that problem because then you get a good review of how it handles different hardware, or would you rather have it easy with an Intel chip, wireless chip?
Well, it depends on what I'm, for me, because of all the other things I do, I tend to, I'll take a few stabs at something to try to get it resolved. But if it's not looking good for me, then I will punt and just say, you know what, I'm going to go this route.
Well, no, the reason I ask is we can replace that network chip. The wireless chip is replaceable.
Oh.
So, if it's worth $20 for you, that all your reviews going forward is going to be easier, then
I always vote easy. I
that.
always vote easy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's on eBay. I can help you search for it. But
yeah, why don't you help me and I'll order
it. It's a mini.
And this is something I can just
PCI, right?
I can just take. Yeah. Is it an insertable card
it's not
or
mini
is
PCI? It's a thing. Yeah, it's an insertable card.
Is a soldering iron involved?
No. It's unplug it, plug it in.
Yeah. There's a little door on the back. Two screws come off, and then one screw holds the thing. There's 3 wires for the antenna. You have to swap out, but yeah.
Wait a minute.
Fairly easy.
There are 3 wires for the antenna that I have to swap out.
No, unplug.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Put the new chip in, then you.
Oh, okay. I was just when you said swap out, I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
We have to disassemble the entire laptop, and then the antenna runs around the
I'm not
screen.
falling for that prank. No, it does, though, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, let's do that, and then I can report on my effort.
All right.
So I'll, let's send me the info, and I'll order it and give it a whack.
Sounds good.
So to speak. So anyway, so that's kind of what was going on with me.
All right.
Great. Well, I guess it's time for
the distros, right?
The distros or the kernel news?
Yeah.
Kernel, you're right.
Matt, what's happening with the kernel?
All right, in the kernel this fortnight, we have the main line is at 3.15-RC7, and it was released on 5/25. Then we have kernel 3.4.91, which was released on 5/18. And long-term kernel 3.2.59, which was released on 5/18, and long-term kernel 2.6.32.62, released on 5/19. That's the Red Hat kernel, the current Red Hat kernel.
Is it?
Oh.
What is it? What's the number again?
2.6.
Oh, yeah.
32.62.
That's pretty old.
Yes, it is.
Well,
but it's stable.
I was going to say for its
stable.
use. Yeah, for its use, it probably suits the purpose just fine.
Talking about kernel stuff, do you remember that project that would upgrade your kernel without...
Really well, we use it.
Wasn't that bought out by Oracle?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was. That's what I heard from somebody else, that it was bought out. But maybe, I don't know if they bought it out or if Oracle rolls that into their Unbreakable Linux.
It lets you, the kernel updates without a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Great. So, what are we on to next?
Tony, what's going on with the Linux distributions this week?
And for the distro this week. So last week we left off on, the 16th or 17th?
Yeah, one of those days. I think
right. So on the 18th, we have Salient OS 14.04, which are based on the new Ubuntu open box.
They do, and I did a review of that that distro, as I recall.
Yeah.
It's Italian.
Cool. On the 20th, we have Clonezilla 2.2.3-10. And Clonezilla's disk imaging and cloning. It's good stuff. I use it a lot. TinyCore 5.3, PyCore. So TinyCore 5.3 has been out. And every couple weeks they have a new edition. and this time Pi-Core for your Raspberry Pis. And OpenSUSE was released. Did you see that? 13.1.1?
Actually, it's their Edu
The Edu Life Mate.
Life. The Edge of Life. That doesn't sound good, does it?
Right. Edu Life.
I lost my network connection.
So.
Mine dropped too, but our Hangout's still going, so that's what's
Yeah,
important.
I got a great hangout. I mean, great hangout. I got a great connection. It usually is like one little level bar. It just went from about 4 now down to 1. I guess I shouldn't have said a word. So
It's reconnecting now. I think I need to get a new wireless router. But
I've got one.
I got one. I'll sell you cheap.
okay, yeah, we'll talk about that after the show. Either way,
There you go.
development.
So where were we? You were talking about. Oh, we're talking about OpenSUSE.
OpenSUSE.
Yeah. So they and actually for that
Hey, Matt,
distro.
did you know that? Isn't OpenSUSE? They use
OpenSUSE is the only RPM-based distribution that is not based on Red Hat. Did you know that?
I did.
No.
You know, the only reason I knew that is because you've said that in the past.
All right. I
But-
feel like I'm in a time loop. Oh my gosh! I thought you were going to say something new about it. But you know, they chose actually this version, this EduLife version. They chose the Mate desktop because it looks close to the pictures in their textbook or something to that effect. So I guess they. But they also you've got the opportunity to select GNOME if you prefer
GNOME.
it. Yeah, at the login screen.
All right.
So, anyway, so I guess it's kind of.
If you want that piece of hipster trash.
What, GNOME? Hipster trash. Hey, aren't we all hipsters?
No.
All right, well, we're going to move on.
All right.
We have Robo Linux 7.5.2.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, with pre-configured VirtualBox.
Yeah, apparently, did you see what they said here? Apparently, they got a lot of complaints about Iceweasel as a
Iceweasel,
browser.
yeah. So they put Firefox in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I suspect Iceweasel is the open source.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
no, you know, all the
And it
they don't have
doesn't
any
work very
proprietary.
well.
Well, yeah, not without some tweaking and things. And if you don't want Flash, if you want Flash, I think Iceweasel, does it handle Flash?
It will, but you got to install it. Same thing as Firefox.
Yeah.
You got to install it.
Yeah.
But all that support's going away pretty soon.
For Flash?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Flash on
Mhm.
Linux. The only way that you'll get Flash on Linux shortly is if you run Chrome, the regular Chrome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Because the Pepper interface is all they're going to support for Linux.
Or you'll just be on an old version of Flash,
Yeah,
which
doesn't work.
soon websites will stop working, right? Anyway, coming up, the next up we have on the 21st is Chakra, GNU Linux
Chakra.
2014.05, and that's a KDE distro.
Yeah, KDE centric. It's a great distro. Remember, I tried to run it. I did successfully run it for a while, and you know, it's not based on a Debian-based system, which I'm very accustomed to. So I had to kind of go through the Pac-Man approach, which it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always liked it. And what they've added by default now is Octopi. And I also read, and I have this, I think, as one of my KDE corner items, is that Octopi. I believe they just released a new version of it. I don't know. I doubt that it's included in this version of Chakra. They probably have the previous version, but anyway.
Well, I
so
don't know
that's,
because this version is going to follow the 4.13.
yeah, but
release.
Octopi is not part of the software compilation.
Oh.
It's a KDE app, but because it's Qt based and it's available on kdeapps.org. But
What does it do?
it's a front end for Pac-Man. So for when you need to install it, it makes life easy.
Cool.
Remember, I'm all about easy.
Right. All right. Are we done with Chakra?
If you're done with Chakra.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, actually, no. The only other thing I would add is that they indicated that the Tribe, their installer, doesn't currently, at least officially, support UEFI RAID or LVM yet. Although you might find some workarounds in the forum. So I think they're on their way there, but they're not. This version is not quite there. All right, now I'm done with it.
All right.
With my little chakra.
Makalulu Linux is next up on the 26th.
Say that again?
Makalulu.
Makalulu?
That's right. 6.0.
Makalulu?
Makalulu Linux.
Makulu.
Makalulu.
All right.
Makulu?
Makulu.
Makulu Linux.
But you know what,
6.0.
Tony? It sounded really good, though. Because I wasn't looking, and I thought, yeah, but I was looking at something else.
I give it a Hawaiian
You were
feel.
putting an extra in there.
Yeah, it is a nice Hawaiian feel.
Anyway.
And actually, that hippo does wear a grass skirt.
Yeah.
Where?
Well, not here, but in some pictures on the website. Of course, not right there, but I've seen it.
You go to their website.
Website.
The hippo has a butterfly wings.
Yeah, that's just a bad Photoshop job.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, apparently it's supposed to.
Hey, somebody put a lot of time and work into that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, it's 6.0 with the XFCE edition. And it's codename Imperium. Or Power of Command.
Out of the
Mm-hmm.
IRC.
Yours doesn't reconnect?
Yeah, you just lost.
I didn't kick you out. Anyway, our next up is Antegros 2014.05.26. And they are Arch-based with the GNOME 3.12 desktop.
Yes, and they always do such a nice job of formatting their announcements on their website. I mean, they've got some great screenshots, and they go into considerable detail. You remember, this used to be the old CinArch.
Oh, right.
Remember the Cinnamon desktop on Arch?
Yeah.
So, but this version, I think, is Mate. So anyway, but
no, GNOME 3.12.
Oh,
that's GNOME.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was doing. I lost my mind.
Oh, it's all right. No problem.
Okay.
And last on we have our list is Kali Linux 1.0.7. And this is for penetration testing and forensics analysis.
Yes.
And what's
formerly
their old name?
known as Backtrack.
Backtrack, that's right. And that's the end of our list. Then we go on to the top 5 of the week.
The distro of the week, according to DistroWatch, calculated by website hits per day.
And at number 5, we have Antegros with 1497.
It's trending up.
And number 4, we have 4M Linux with 1510.
And trending up. And I just got to say, where the hell did that come from?
Oh, they have a development release.
Okay.
Beta 9.0. They have the JWM window manager.
Which I believe are the initials for Jim somebody.
Joe, isn't it?
Joe, maybe it is Joe.
Joe's window manager.
4M Linux. Yeah. Yeah, Joe. That's it. Somebody's name. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3 is Debian with 1576.
And trending down.
Number 2 is Ubuntu with 1598.
And trending down.
And then the number 1 spot is Mint.
Gotta love that minty goodness.
With 3204.
And trending up.
Yes.
Yes, and let's see here. We got FreeBSD cruising in at 30. And I know that my little PC BSD is down here someplace. But anyway, so. All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it's at 58.
You know, there's this nifty little thing you can do on a website, Mary.
Called Find?
It's called Control F. And it opens this little box that lets you type into it, and then it will find that on the web page for you.
Oh, my God, there it is. Okay, thanks, Matt. No, I already knew about it, but I was just sort of scanning. Okay, I'll be sure to help you out too. All right.
All
It's
right.
pretty new technology. You might not have heard of it.
2 keys at once, you mean?
All right. Next up is.
What distro are you reviewing this week, Mary?
All right. So this week, well, I think as I said earlier in the show, I had originally set out to do a review of NixOS, which is actually just a distro built around the Nix package manager. And I was kind of intrigued by it because the file system is set up a little bit differently and blah, blah, blah. But as I said, I ran into some issues that I just felt were going to take too long for me to resolve in the time I had allotted for myself. Although I could have probably started a little earlier, but you know how that goes. So anyway, I then said to myself, well, I must find another distro because we need one. So I went and I hunted high and I hunted low, and I found a Linux distro that characterizes itself as a small yet versatile 64-bit multi-user Linux distribution. Well, yeah, but don't they all say that?
Right.
Well, anyway, it weighs in at a mere 248 megabytes. I guess you could say it has a lot of bark for its bite. The distro I'm talking or looking at this week is Fat Dog Linux.
Fat Dog?
Fat Dog. Fat Dog.
I haven't heard of that one.
Fat
Maybe
Dog.
I found a new distribution. Fat Dog.
Yes, and Fat Dog Linux, as you might have figured out, or maybe not, has its roots in Puppy Linux.
Oh.
So there's a Puppy angle, but it now kind of considers itself separate, but it still follows some of the Puppy protocols. So anyway, so would Fat Dog Linux really prove to be a peppy puppy, or would it seem like it's on a dose of doggy downers? Well, let's find out. So of course, the name is Fat Dog. Actually, it's Fat Dog Linux 64 because it's only available for 64-bit machines. So anybody who's running a 32-bit machine, unfortunately, this probably won't work for you. The maintainers actually was developed by a gentleman named Kirk. And its most recent birthday was, I believe, just a couple of weeks ago, not too long ago. And as I said, it's a derivative of Puppy Linux. Unfortunately, I don't have the kernel that it's based on or what it's running. I forgot to do that because I put this together quickly. Hopefully, you won't be able to tell that. But the review desktop, it runs OpenBox and then also has JWM available. So.
Oh, JWM. We just were talking about
exactly. Yeah. So. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, booting to the live environment took slightly under 4.5 minutes, longer than I expected. Now, keep in mind, of course, it's reading off the DVD and the RAM. But Fat Dog booted to a pleasant OpenBox-style desktop. The gunmetal gray wallpaper is attractively offset. You like that fluff I put in there?
Yeah.
Attractively offset with a very chubby, golden-colored dog. That's sure a fat dog. Oh, I get it, Fat Dog Linux. Now, in typical Puppy fashion, there's a collection of frequently used icons that are clustered in the upper left portion of the screen. At the bottom is a panel that holds the quick launch, your standard icons you typically have in a panel, the launch menu, those kinds of things. Now, graphics, it uses the i915 Intel graphics modules, the B43, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Now, the defaults for Fat Dog Linux, it's Firefox Nightly, which I had never heard of. It's the nightly build of Firefox. So they said it's bleeding edge, and it might break, but it might not. So I used it a few times and didn't have any issues with it. Yeah, and when you go to see the about, it doesn't say Firefox; it just says Nightly.
Oh, yeah.
By the
KDE nightlies for a while there?
Yeah, when I did Project Neon. And by the way, I'm thinking of going back to Project Neon on this. On my laptop, PCBSD as a virtual machine, going back to that, and then adding Project Neon so I could run the nightlies just again. But anyway, so, but in addition to Firefox Nightly, it also has SeaMonkey. Now, the Office suite is Abby GNU, as I like to call it, which is a combination of Abby Word and GNUmeric. And the mail client is SeaMonkey Mail, and then the file manager, it uses RoxFiler. Now, finding the installer in the live environment was somewhat of a laborious process. It's hidden in the Fat Dog 64 control panel, which is an icon on the quick launch tray. So I was expecting the top which is what you typically find, or something in the menu system, but it wasn't there. It was only available from that. I discovered that. I discovered that after doing some checking out on Google, and so then I was all set. All right, so I went ahead and clicked the installer. Now, gparted is available for those of you who want to do some repartitioning or some reorganizing of your hard drive prior to install, but that, like some distros, is done outside of the install process or the installer itself. But they're pretty upfront about just letting you know that. So anyway, it's a three-step process, essentially. You first of all select the partition and the file format. Now, what's available for Fat Dog Linux are just simply ext 2, 3, and 4, and then, not surprisingly, FAT16 and FAT32, which I laughed when I saw that. But that's basically it. There's no Btrfs or JFS or any of those other file system formats. There's also a checkbox so the user can select that they want a small edit RD. I left that unchecked because my laptop had a lot of space. All right, so the next step is where am I going to install it? Well, or where to install the bootloader. I had 4 options available. Install or not install a bootloader, and then also install on the master boot record or install on the partition itself. So what's nice about it is, depending on the selection you choose, you get a little message that explains the consequences. So, for example, if you're going to install it on the master boot record, it says you may not be able to boot other operating systems that are on here. So anyway, and then the final piece is the location of the source media. Of course, mine was on the CD-ROM, and it's only 248 megs, so it's pretty small. But the actual install, now I told you that the booting up from a live media took 4.5 minutes. The install took less than a minute, because essentially it's just copying the files over, because you know how Puppy is set up, it's kind of a stacked file system. Right. So it took less than a minute, and then I rebooted and I was ready to go. Now, contrast 4.5 minutes with 19 seconds it takes to go from BIOS to desktop once you install it. It was fast, extremely fast.
Yeah, because Puppy, that's one of the tricks it does. If you have enough, when anything over 250 megs is usually enough for Puppy, it loads the entire system into RAM.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, and on the machine I was using, well, it's got 2 gigs of RAM, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The one I got from you. So it was, I was extremely impressed, because I bring out the little stopwatch, and I just started just to kind of check, because when I was playing around with it originally, I thought, my God, it's taking forever to boot off that live media, and then once it got installed, woof, it went. So pretty quick.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, after the install, I wanted to take a look at the partition.
I have a question. How did it do the install? Did it do a traditional install, or did it do an image install, which is what I think Puppy does traditionally when you try and install it?
I think it's the latter, because I'm actually getting to that right now, because once I installed it, I wanted to go back and see what actually was on the hard drive. So even though I had just installed it, I went back and I rebooted again from the live media, mounted that hard drive so I could go in and take a look. There are only, I think, 5 files there, and one of them is that
is the ISO image.
Yeah. No, not on the hard drive, because it's installed. It's not an ISO image.iso. It's the file system, but it's all one big file system. It's one big file, because that's how Puppy rolls.
Right.
Yeah. So, but keep in mind that I wasn't running off that. That was just simply acting as a drive. I wanted to look at it once I installed it, and the only way I could really look at it was by running it again in the live environment. Right. So.
I'm following you.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, but I just want to take a look at it just to kind of see how it was laid out, because traditionally you've got the variety, number of directories. So anyway, but I also I opened up a terminal once I got it installed, and I discovered that I was the root user automatically. Now, according to the Fat Dog Linux website, that's done as a convenience to users.
Yeah, and that's what Puppy does that too.
Yeah, and they go into detail to explain the rationale. However, programs such as Firefox, SeaMonkey, Thunderbird, and other similar programs do not run as root. They run as a user called Spot. And this user only has access to certain things, and it can only write to a few places. Obviously, the downloads folder is one of them, and so that basically saves users from all the nefarious things on the internet. So if the user wants to have a greater capability in that, they do provide instructions as far as how you can change that. But in my opinion, it seems like downloading to or saving your files to a download folder is probably the easiest thing to do. So anyway, but that was kind of interesting. But you could end up with elevated permissions in Firefox if you want. Now, also, I think like Puppy, FatDog64, they use the AUFS file system, and there, as I said, Matt, and I mentioned to you, and I obviously have it in my review here too, that there were these 5 files. It's a stackable file system, and that main file system is basically compressed, and when you boot it, it uncompresses and folds out the whole thing for you.
Squash FS.
Yep, exactly. Very similar to Puppy. I also am going to include a link in the show notes to some in-depth information about the file system. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I think people may find that interesting too. I also want to talk a little bit about the FatDog64 control panel. Now, when you open it, it's available first of all on the task panel at the bottom of the screen. There are 6 tabs, each focusing on a specific topic. You've got localization, which handles your keyboard, time zone, etc. You've got desktop, which handles themes, display properties, cursors, that type of thing. Sound, of course, for ALSA tools, and also to set your default sound card if you need to do that. Now, the network handles all the Bluetooth activity that you might need to configure. Display properties, dialers, there's a wizard, the firewall, and all that. And then moving on to hardware, that helps you with CUPS, managing your services, all the hardware information. And then utilities, which is the partition, the remastering, if you want to do that, backup, that type of thing. Although it's not extremely easy to find at first, once you locate it, you've got many tools at your disposal, as I just mentioned.
Sure.
Now, my first order of business was to get wireless working. My test laptop uses a Broadcom chip, and out of the box, FatDog Linux 64 did not initially work. However, I was impressed with the documentation because on page 8, were the instructions for activating the proprietary BL driver that FatDog includes. This is for Broadcom.
Right.
I followed the instructions and had wireless up and running in a few minutes. This dog can hunt. It was pretty good because there's a little utility you open up, and you just have to uncheck a box to load this module or to load that driver, and run it at startup and that type of thing, and it worked. So I was on the internet.
A little better than the Nix OS, huh?
Oh, yeah. That was fun. Yeah. You know, again, it's not a knock on Nix necessarily.
Not a knock on Nix.
I suspect I probably would have fared a little better if I had put it on a different laptop.
Poets now, right?
Yeah, we are. Not I know. Now, FatDog64 also has a sandbox environment, and you initiate it by running a script called sandbox.sh. There are a couple of other scripts that you can run if you want to save files created in the sandbox, but the only one that I ran was the basic sandbox script. Now, the way the sandbox is implemented, they do it via a stackable file system, the Union file system, and you can see all the files modified in the sandbox by going to a directory under mount. It's mount sb and then /sandbox. However, it's only visible when the sandbox is running. So once you exit the sandbox, that's unmounted and it's not there. So, and one thing the FatDog Linux website reminds you of is that the sandbox should not be considered a security tool because there are some file changes in the sandbox that will propagate to the outside. Tempfs, proc, sys. So it's primarily for testing applications, that type of thing. So they just want you to know, don't think this is just a standalone sandbox that's going to protect you. But aside from that little caveat, the FatDog sandbox affords you the opportunity to do just about anything you'd normally do. The sandbox also includes a full desktop emulation layer, which is easily started by typing xwin. I tested it. I started a sandbox. I did ls. I had the directory structure I was expecting to see. I then typed xwin, and bingo, up came another little FatDog desktop right inside my big one. So then, of course, I thought, oh, I'll open up a terminal there and type sandbox and see what happens. But it didn't go in again. It just stopped with that one. So And then exiting that sandbox is very easy. You just simply type exit, and it shuts down. So
At the terminal, the same terminal you used to open it?
yes, yeah. But I was impressed with it. I really was. I was not aware of that, and I didn't have time to check and see if that's something that's also available in Puppy, but definitely it's available in Sandbox, and it was impressive. All right, now installing applications in FatDog Linux is a relatively easy affair. FatDog handles the standard .pet extension. It's just like a deb or RPM. The PET
They're
archive.
totally self-contained, though.
Yes, they are.
Pets are totally self-contained.
They are. I mean, but it's like that where the archive is decompressed and copied to the installed system.
Right, but there's no dependencies. A pet will work. It doesn't need to draw in dependencies.
SFS, I think .fsf is another package thing.
I think the PETs are self-contained. I'm not positive it's your review, but I thought the PETs were completely self-contained packages. All the dependencies were inside it and everything, and bang.
Well, all I know is that when I went to use the package manager to install TuxCart and Scribus, it handled dependencies, but those weren't necessarily pet files.
Yeah, I don't think there probably weren't.
Yeah.
Pets.
Yeah, because I did attempt to install, and then it's very funny. Remember when I said I had rebooted to the live environment after I had installed it? Well, I had it running for a while, and I forgot I had, so I was trying to install this stuff, and of course, I wasn't on my regular, and I thought, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? So then I realized, oh, I'm still in the live environment, so I fixed that. But there's a second way to install apps, and that's using the SFS package. Excuse me. The SFS file contains the app as a compressed file system also. It's basically SquashFS. And when it's installed, the contents of this system then is merged with the rest of the file system, but unlike pet files, the SFS file is never copied over. So I downloaded Chrome to test it, and I was live when I tried that. That's why I couldn't get it to work. But I did click the SFS file, which basically mounts it, and then I tried to open it up, and I ended up with these folders, and I thought I had the executable for Chrome, but it did not. I never was able to get it working, and I was running out of time, so I have to apologize. I didn't get a chance really to work too much with that. But aside from that, the package manager, it'll download what's available, and I installed from that just fine. It was great, impressive for a little 248 megabyte ISO. Now, FatDog comes with quite a few programs already installed, and I was surprised at the number available. You got HTOP, and again, that's probably a little script that just calls HTOP in a little terminal, but it's nice because it's in the menu. You got bcrypt, which is a file encryption utility. You open that up, you just tell the file, you identify the file you want to encrypt, the passwords, and then you click it, and it'll take care of it. They've got something called Quick Apps, which essentially opens a window, and that just shows you all the available applications. So essentially, it takes your menu and just makes it in one big window. So that's kind of nice if you want to do something like that. And then I tell you what I really liked was the screencaster. Now, I've tried different apps to record the desktop. What this one does, not only did it record the desktop, it also recorded my audio.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
it was recording it off this microphone, so it was getting a lot of ambient noise, but I suspect that if I had a microphone available and plugged it in so that it wasn't catching this noise, it would not sound as tinny as it did, but it did right out of the box. I was impressed. Yet again. So you know where this review is going, don't you? Then there's something called XDelta. Now that's a utility to compute the changes between two files. It differs from diff in that the delta is not expressed in human readable form, and it's in dog years. No, just kidding. I made that last part up.
Dog years.
They also have something called Osmo. I think I may have mentioned this before, but it's a handy personal organizer, so you can add tasks, contacts, and a calendar. It's all just nicely put together in this one little package. And then they've got a bunch of image tools. Basically, I think these they come over from Puppy. It's like PZ Glue, PZ Scale, various things that you can use to adjust images. Just moving on, it comes with Composer, which is a web development platform already installed. I was surprised at that. And then it's got Shotcut, which is a video editor. I have not heard of Shotcut. I didn't have time to test it out. I've used OpenShot, I've used Kdenlive, but I've not heard of Shotcut. So that came with it. And then also FF Convert, which basically will convert multimedia. So, I mean, there were some really nice tools installed. And I'll tell you what, on an older machine, I think this would be a nice distro to put on there, just because of the tools that are available and how easy it was to use. It ran Flash right out of the, I mean, I started Firefox nightly. I started the nightly browser.
What's the RAM requirements for it?
Oh, you know, I would have to look that up. But it certainly ran in 2 gigs. So, but it was impressive. So anyway, so my rating. I was impressed with Fat Dog for the most part. Apart from the couple of little glitches, you know, related to the install thing I talked about earlier, I'm going to throw this dog a bunch of bones. I tell you what, it's I'd say it's practically 4 bones.
No way.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I think that's the best review you've ever given.
Practically. I remember Saluki. That's another puppy derivative. I like that one too. But I'm going to take this distro and I'm going to put it on some other machines for people. I've got some laptops and some stuff I'm going to getting rid of, and I'm going to put this on there. I think it'll be a good way for people to experiment with Linux, or just to use it. All the nice little tools. So that's my review this week, fellas.
All right.
Whew.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, I liked it. So I'll be posting the show notes up on this with a link to the site. What show notes?
What are show notes?
We don't need no stinking show notes. Yes, we do. Well, I do anyway. I've got it all written out, so it makes sense to post them. So I'll have a link to FatDog64.
All right. Sweet.
All right.
Sorry, I had to run out there. That was my pager going off.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. I'm sorry for the interruption. But
That's okay.
had to help a doctor with a projector. But by the time I called him back, he had already figured it out and was working. So I'm like, sweet. Close the ticket and walk back in here.
Ain't life good on a Saturday morning?
Go home for 2 hours.
All right. So now, what are we moving on to?
We're going on to...
It's time for the tech news of the week.
The news.
Great.
The news. I did actually. I found one thing this week.
I have one thing too.
All right. Have you? It's a WebRTC video conferencing site, and there's no sign up. There's no membership. You just go to it, and when you go to it, it gives you a little link, and you send that link to other people, and then everybody can join in, and you talk, and it doesn't do any recording. It doesn't do it. It's a quick.
It's like a hangout.
Yeah, quick. You can have multiple people connect in, and and then you can either choose to leave it open. That if anybody guesses that string of that link, then they can password protect it. It's pretty cool. It's called meet.jit.si. So meet.jit.si. And it's a really cool website.
Where's it based out of? Do you know?
SI. No, I don't know.
Well,
Sports Illustrated?
Did you know that you can have websites that are named after a country like that? And they're not. It's not where they live.
Right. I'll have to.
Because I know of a few that live here that have names that should be elsewhere.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just because it meets what their name they want it to be or something.
Yes.
Sounds like we probably shouldn't pursue that any further.
Anyway, it looks really cool, and that's where if you want to do Google Hangouts, you have to have an account. If you want to do Skype, you have to have an account. So for somebody that just wants to get on real quick, and it uses HTML5, so there's no plugins you have to install as long as you're using a new browser. And a new browser as in anything written in or released in the last year, at least.
Well, older than that for some browsers.
Right, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Meet Jitsi. Meet that
Okay.
You know, you got to stop
JIT.SI.
saying that because I'm not touching that name, and it's coming more difficult as more often you say it. So you just got to
Alright.
stop saying that name.
No, but it's pretty cool. I'm afraid to go to it because I don't want to start sucking down bandwidth right now because of video stuff. But
Yeah, that would be good.
no, but I think it's pretty cool.
All right.
All right,
And that's all I had.
and I've got one. True Crypt Not Dead.
Hey, that was mine.
Forked and relocated
I'm kidding.
to Switzerland.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that was. I mean, that got a lot of
it
traction
got a
on
lot
Google
of traction.
Plus.
There's all kinds of the rumor mill kicked into high gear, baby.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, yeah, oh yeah. There were all kinds of. One was that they got notice from the NSA, and so they folded up. It was a lava bit kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And another was that they found a bug so devastating that they just closed it up instead. Another one was that they got hacked and they weren't really closing it up. The hackers closed it up, and so.
Wow, I
True
missed
Crypt?
half those
Oh
rumors.
yeah, they were
Oh,
all
my God.
they were all a Twitter.
All on
Get it?
Twitter?
It's Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty clever. That was pretty clever.
But yeah, but it's not really dead. It's been forked and relocated to Switzerland to get it out of the United States and those export restrictions.
All right. Cool. Can you put that link in the IRC?
Sure.
Sure, he can do it.
So that
All
was your
right.
one.
That was my one news.
All right.
Yep.
So is there, other than it just being forked and sent off, was there any other backstory to it?
No.
Was it the evil government?
No, no other backstory. It's totally different developers.
It's probably a front for the NSA, and it's going to be rife with backdoors. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. So, any other news, Matt, or is that
That's
your?
it.
That was your big news. That was pretty big
that was
news
my
because that came out at
total
the end of the.
contribution.
Okay. Well, that's much appreciated by everyone, including myself. I have a couple. The Linux Foundation, I think this just came out yesterday, I believe it was. They've created the core infrastructure. Well, I think they created it before
I
yesterday.
was gonna do that one, and then
Yeah.
I decided now I'm gonna do the True Crypt.
Oh, I'm glad. Anyway, they created the Core Infrastructure Initiative, which is set up to support open source software projects that are vital, critical, like.
Right. They're paying for 2 developers for OpenSSL, which they should just give up. OpenSSL they should just fold it up, because if you're following the LibreSSL thing, there is so much horribleness inside OpenSSL. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Really?
Unbelievable.
I mean, I've heard
some of the things
little
they've done.
bits about that, but I haven't really done any
You say
digging
it's so
into
horrible it just can't be fixed?
Yes, that's what the LibreSSL project, which is OpenBSD based, is gutting it, and it is a mess. Just a mess.
So you're saying that these big companies like
spending all this
Google,
money.
IBM, Intel, Cisco, Microsoft, and VMware now have been joined by Adobe, Bloomberg, HP, Huawei, and Salesforce.com. They're basically going to be monetarily supporting OpenSSL.
Well, OpenSSL, there's a bunch of the core that they're going to support.
With
but
finance,
OpenSSL is one of them, and I think they ought to just
backing.
throw in the towel on OpenSSL and back LibreSSL. Linux Foundation did.
But it looks like they're doing both.
They're doing both, but
well, then maybe they'll be the entity that will kind of bring that discussion together to say, yeah, that's what we need to do, because I'll have to start looking into that a little bit more. And speaking of BSDCan was just concluded last week, and I did not realize that FlightAware. You ever use FlightAware.com?
No.
Okay, if you're flying or you know somebody who's flying and you maybe got to go meet him or something, you could track the flight in real time on the web.
You ever use Netflix?
Yeah.
That's all BSD.
Yeah, exactly. But FlightAware, I didn't know until the CEO gave the keynote at BSDCan that it runs on BSD. I had no idea.
And
So-
why would you? Do you think anybody using Netflix,
No.
except people like us,
Geeks, yeah.
would know
Get
that
a kick
Netflix
out of
is
that.
all running on BSD? No, they don't know that.
No, but I just thought it was kind of
Because
cool.
people don't care what the operating system is. They want it to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy is what you're
Yep.
looking for. And that's, I mean, that's kind of my philosophy to a certain extent. I just, sometimes I want to dig into something, but other times I don't have time for that because I'm trying to do this.
Just want it to work.
Yep. So anyway, but that was my one story. I thought that was pretty interesting. But I think it'll be worth following a little bit, or at least kind of keeping in tune with what's going on there, just to see what happens to OpenSSL versus LibreSSL and what. Not that I want to consider them competing
LibreSSL
forces,
right now is being done by OpenBSD.
Mhm.
The only thing it's going to run on is OpenBSD and possibly the other BSDs. But they're having all these problems with people who are porting it. They're porting it in bad ways. They're making it work on other OSs that aren't natively as secure, so it's not as secure.
Oh.
That's one of their big mantras about it is when you're porting LibreSSL to your OS, keep in mind that your OS may not be as secure as OpenBSD.
Mhm.
So,
All right. So anyway, so that was my one news. That was a news item. Also, this is not really a news item exactly. This was. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the link that you gave me, Tony. I found this instructions for how to recover your root password. Are you familiar with that? How to do it?
you can drop in a single user mode and change it.
You can boot to another disk and to root.
Well, apparently.
You can boot to a live USB or anything live and then
Yeah,
root to
you type to a single user. That's what this one. You go to single user mode, and then you do it at the grub prompt, assuming that grub, that you're prompting into that, and then you basically boot, and then you get the root prompt without asking for a password. And at that point, apparently, you can go in.
Well, depending on your distribution, you get the root prompt without a
Okay.
password. If you tried it on Tony's laptop, you would be asked for a password.
CentOS lets you do it.
Correct.
How insecure is that?
It's not. You got to have physical access. Physical access, game over.
No, yeah. That's all right. I was trying to be smart. So anyway, that was a little thing that I found. I'll put that that link will be in the show notes. And I think as far as my stories go, those are the stories. I have KDE Corner, so you let me know when you're ready for that.
I think we're ready right now.
Hey, Mary. Well, what's going on in KDE Corner?
A couple little things. Let's see here. We've got. I think I mentioned that Octopi. I talked about that. That's a front end for Pac-Man.
Really? I never heard of that before.
Oh,
amazing!
I'm just gonna slap you. I'm just gonna slap you now. No, I had already put it in as my KDE thing, and then I had blurted it out earlier with Chakra.
Oh.
So anyway, that was released this past week, the new version. And then also there's a Randa. Actually it's a KDE. It's the Randa meetings. Randa is a city in it's in Europe. Hedging my bets.
That little place called Europe over there.
It might be
Over
Switzerland.
there across the pond.
Yes, I'm going to apologize for any non-US people that are listening to this. I realize
Europe.
I realize it. Oh, shush.
Could you narrow it down a little bit for us, Mary? Like maybe a couple of countries.
Well, why don't you Google and help me out while I go on with this? We're going to have that for everyone by the end of my little story here. But anyway,
Randa? It's called Randa.
Randa. Mm-hmm. I believe it's in. I believe you'll help me out with that. But anyway, so this year I'll be working on there, and one of them I was happy to see is Kden Live, because that kind of went dormant for a while. Then it's been kind of dragged out now just recently, and I think there's going to be some more work on it. But what they want to do is to reinforce one of the best video editing applications on Linux, and then start a port to the KDE Framework 5, which is the next, that's just the next iteration. So I'm hoping that that I did. So did I luck out?
maybe if I had anything near modern internet speeds.
What is that, 300 baud?
I have.
Oh my God.
I think I'm using a coupler, acoustic coupler right now. Yeah.
But anyway, they're going to be also working on Amarok and the
I'm still looking at the
multimedia
webpage.
packages like Phonon and the like, and then also Glue to come up with, because that's a KDE gaming framework. So that's going to be also talked about and some work done. So it's going to be out of that meeting.
It looks like a teeny island in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, well, oh, is it? Okay. Oh, Switzerland starts with an S. Spain starts with an S. That's how I must have, it's those letters after that I kind of screwed up.
I was going to say, looking at that architecture, it doesn't look Mediterranean.
And I didn't see any little yodelers in there either. So. Anyway, so that's basically my KDE corner this week. Well, that kind of started downhill. Hey.
I'm not the one who started the ball rolling down the ski slope.
All right. Well,
Now it's, is it alive?
No way.
yeah.
We did
No.
it.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
All right. So now, because we sit differently now, and you're all started to lean back.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mary.
So you can see what we're doing
I
here.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hang on.
Turn our backs to you.
No, that's okay. Yeah. You do always anyway. No. So yes. Is it alive, or you'll see puppy Linux? Oh my God! I back me up. And so anyway, during I challenge Matt and Tony every other time we course. I twist the concept and name it something else. So this week, it's, as I said, is this a puppy spinoff or not? 5 of them here, guys. Are you up for the challenge?
I'm ready.
Tough.
It is. All right. The first one is Lassie.
That's too obvious.
It is obvious,
But
I think she might have gone for the double fake out, and I'm going to go alive and puppy.
I'm gonna say Alive and Puppy.
You're right. And when I saw Lassie, that's when I thought, oh my God, this isn't a live situation, because we'll get some laughs here.
Yeah.
And I think it is still alive. And by the way, Lassie stands for Lazy Puppy Modular Concept. That's for the L only. The A is Antiquity Icon Set, including wallpapers. The S is Sarah B. And the other S is SFS Plus. And the I is Incredible. And the E is Extension F. That was Lassie.
Wow.
I couldn't live without knowing that.
I know, but anyway, yeah. Okay, the next one is Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, live too. It's It's actually a fork of the Saluki project, the puppies, and it's so yeah. Okay, next one, Droopy.
Oh, that's alive, yes.
Sure. I'll agree with that.
Tony, you were just punked by Matt.
Yep.
Oh.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. All right, Skippy Linux. Skippy. Is that a puppy spinoff or
Go
not?
ahead, Tony.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm going to say no.
It is not.
Oh.
You guys keeping score?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
1 now.
All right.
Yeah.
And here's our last one. Akita. Akita Linux. A-K-I-T-A.
Yes,
not,
like-
not to be
Yeah, I'm
confused
gonna
with
say
IKEA.
yes.
No, the dog.
The dog, yep.
I'm gonna say yes.
And I will say yes.
You're both right. Akita Linux is a free, tiny, 90 megabytes tiny, lightweight, user-friendly, feature-packed Linux operating system, which can be installed and booted from CD, blah, blah, blah. And it's part of the Puppy. It's a spin-off of Puppy. So, yeah, they had a whole list of all their Puppy projects and spin-offs, and I just went through picking a few. So, Matt, I think you won.
I did.
He did. By 1 point.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
it's close. So, join us next time for another edition of Is It Alive?
Bum, 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 bum.
I guess that replaces the music. As out of tune as we were.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got next?
Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I had a little bit of security stuff.
Oh, why don't let's do it now.
All right.
We'll move from the lighthearted portion back to the serious, ponderous stuff.
I have two things. One is Frontline. You know, that's the PBS
Yeah, the show.
The
series thing.
The tick stuff. The flea and tick stuff. Frontline.
No.
No, it's a PBS show.
It's a PBS show.
You wouldn't know about it.
And
You don't
it's
watch
called the Unite. They have a
thing?
yeah,
An item?
a series or
Okay.
a 2-show episode thingy together that it's called the United States of Secrets, and it's all about
The Illuminati?
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
What happened like the days after
The
9/11?
Bilderbergers.
Yeah.
Bilderbergers.
What happened?
Just all like the happenings right after, and then how the NSA started
power grab?
wiretapping and
Sure.
power grab and
That was a perfect opportunity for certain entities that shall remain nameless.
But what's interesting though, and more interesting the
they're
way they
nameless
do it.
Yeah.
Well, the way they were showing it is that most of the people that actually created the technology, they didn't want to do this. They didn't want to start doing the tapping and the surveillance that they were told to do, and quite a few of them actually quit and left.
Of the people
That created the technology, yeah,
Oh.
because they were told to strip out the safeguards that, because there was things saying if you're a U.S. citizen to anonymize it or drop it, and they were told to pull that out. So and that's just in the first hour of this 3-hour series, or special, and I didn't get to watch through the whole thing, but it looks pretty cool. And it has a lot of people and has dates and times and lots of really cool stuff.
Mhm.
So you should check it out. And so the link is in the show notes.
Okay.
Or it's the
But I
United.
don't have a dog.
What do you need a dog for?
For flea and tick protection.
Oh. Hey, and we did a fat dog.
Yeah, fat dog.
Yeah, this is a canine. This is a canine.
Right.
And and it's your comment on that is very timely because this week was the Edward Snowden interview. I
Traitor.
don't think so.
You would be wrong, but that's okay.
I wouldn't call him a traitor. I just think I'm not even sure he could have gotten a fair trial in this country. But anyway, I've watched half of it, and a friend of the show, John Miller, he lent me the file, but he made the file available to me so I can watch the other half because apparently it's broken up into pieces. And speaking of John, our intro, our new show intro is from him.
Yes.
And we want
Just as the old one was.
Yes. Talented guy, funny guy,
Yeah.
and oh my God, I burst out laughing when I heard it.
Oh, it was great.
Oh.
I'm like, this is fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always does a good job.
Yep. So anyway, so thanks, Tony. Have more to say about it, or?
One other thing is that Martin Obando and I,
Mhm.
Martin, you may have listened to him from Podnuts stuff. He's doing He was on
think
the
I've listened to
Geeksters for a long time, and we met him at Ohio Linux Fest last year. He wasn't there the year before, so he didn't get to meet him.
Okay.
I'm
I'm planning on going this year.
Cool.
When is it? Do you know?
I'd have to look up the date.
All right.
But
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
I believe it starts on a Saturday and ends on a Saturday. It's like a one-day thing.
yeah, in the fall sometime.
Oh, thank you so much.
Anyway, Martin and I got
You're
together.
the only one laughing at.
We did a
Yeah,
hangout.
I amused the shit out of myself. What can I tell you?
Tony is trying to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, we did a hangout, and we talked a little bit about how the WordPress hacks and stuff and what we did to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
And because he had a similar problem where he had that base 64, but they were using JavaScript to do it, where my problem was using PHP.
I found one earlier this week where the file sending the thing sends out the spam was this Perl script, but they had obfuscated it to be cron D.
Really?
Like if you looked at it, it said it was cron D, but then if you did a PS on it, it said it was this Perl script.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ah,
That's funny.
October 24th through the 26th.
Okay.
That's 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they have 2 days of pre-show or
We have
pre
tutorials and stuff.
The Fridays, the paid,
Right.
and then Saturday.
And then Sundays.
Oh, Sunday's the testing day.
Okay.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so
back
we're
to
talking
your
about
thing.
Ohio Linux Fest there for a
Yeah,
second.
sorry. I take responsibility for driving us off track. Oh, no. Ah, oh, no.
But there's a few security plugins that we didn't talk about. I have a friend, Gary. He had watched it, and he says he used one called iThemes Security. It's a plugin that's supposed to help with that.
Oh, for WordPress?
So, yeah, I haven't had time to look into it because I just got the message today.
All we do at work is shut them down and we say, your site's hacked, fix it.
Yep, that's what my host did too. Anyway. But, yeah, so there's a YouTube video and link to that in the show notes.
Great. That's good for anybody who runs a WordPress site.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
It's listener feedback time.
And we
have listener feedback.
We do have listener feedback
do. We got something.
from Henrik.
Henrik,
Yeah.
He was about the same thing about the WordPress stuff. He said that a lot of times they get in through FTP accounts, and so I should go through the FTP logs to see when it happened or whatnot. And that's why I had the same idea that it was an FTP problem. So we went through and reset all the FTP accounts, their passwords and stuff. So I didn't go through to look at the logs, but I'm sure that was what it was from. And luckily, none of my websites, we use the FTP accounts. So I haven't gotten so far to shut all the accounts
when you
off,
say
but
they got
I really
in
should.
via the FTP, or they could have gotten in via the FTP account, is that because they just guessed a weak password?
Yeah, likely.
Brute force it. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
Brute force attacks on WordPress. They're very popular.
Well, it wasn't. This wouldn't have been against WordPress. It would have been against the FTP account. But you're right. It could be
The WordPress brute force
WordPress.
attacks are very popular
Yeah.
against WP admin all the time.
Oh, that's the username, and then they just start doing things like password,
Well, that's the
admin.
login page. That's the admin login page.
Yeah.
So they run through usernames and passwords.
Unfortunately, you can't change that name of that page without
Yeah, you
impacting. Because it's just the landing page, and nothing underneath refers back to it.
Right. You would just have to know the new address of it. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't think about changing it. All right.
Okay.
Well, and then the other part of his email was that our CAPTCHA is broken on our contact form, which
Did you get a chance
I
to look
didn't.
at that?
I didn't. It doesn't even look like there's CAPTCHA on it to me. Oh, because I'm logged in right now. Yeah, if you're logged in, there is no CAPTCHA at all.
Thanks for confirming that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. The image is missing, so CAPTCHA is impossible to be used.
So that means nobody can leave messages.
Right. That's probably why we haven't been getting listener feedback.
Maybe.
People have probably been cursing us.
Although, it shows email addresses right there, too.
People are lazy.
Well, I'll fix it. I'll go in and...
Well, here's leave a reply. I don't even have it here on mine.
That's a comment to the webpage that you're on.
Oh, it's when you go to log in?
You go to, contact us. On the contact us page, you scroll down. There's a CAPTCHA. You have to type that in.
Okay. Well, here, let me refresh it. See.
But we don't have a caption on our comment page?
Mary was logged in, wasn't she?
No,
or no, you weren't.
I was not logged in.
Perhaps we don't.
And we don't get buried in comment spam? I'm surprised.
We used to. Remember we read those occasionally, ones that are funny?
Oh, no, we get a lot of comments. We have 10,000 comments sitting there.
Yeah.
10,000?
Yeah, that's all comment spam.
But they don't show.
No, it doesn't show because
You've got
we have
something.
to prove it, and we have CAPTCHA, and we have Ask Commit that also filters out
Okay.
the spam stuff.
10,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
But anyway.
I've seen some sites that get overrun with that
That's
stuff, and it's really sad.
That's the listener feedback. Thank you, Henrik.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so we're coming to the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is...
Featured Music of the Week.
Music time.
Yeah, did you pick something?
I did, and...
Cool.
I found actually I went over to cchits.net, which is a Creative Commons music website that I think Ken Filan runs it.
Okay.
He's from HPR.
Yeah.
And from there you get a link over to Jamando where this song lives.
Mm-hmm.
But CC Hits is pretty cool. Check it out. There's a lot of interesting music there. But the song is Requiem for a Fish.
Requiem for a Fish?
Yeah, by the Freak Fandango Orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that Monty Python movie?
No.
Requiem for a Fish?
I don't know.
Or no, that was a fish called
Yeah, we
Wanda.
need to
Never
put a
mind.
light right there. Sorry. I just blurted that out.
I agree. Anyway. Oh, sorry guys. All right, listen. Should we listen to the whole thing while Matt's in the bathroom?
No. Oh. No, we could probably talk a little bit. Oh.
Anyway, you've sent me a couple of the
Fandango?
Fandango.
Yeah, I like them.
So I thought it was pretty good music.
I like the name of the band, too.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All
it
right.
always sounds so much better when it's played.
Yeah, when I pipe it in. Oh.
It's like the callback when you call somebody and you hang up on your cell phone and then somebody calls you and then after you talk to them your phone rings again.
Stop! What is it doing? Okay.
Poltergeist.
Right. Oh, even though I've closed the tab, it still plays.
Well, it's because it's on a player probably. There you go.
Oh, there we go. I had to close out of Chrome. Now it's gone away.
Oh, okay. All right. Boy, that was scary. So we're going to have to do the end of the show with the music actually playing.
Right.
But we have to keep stalling because Matt has not returned.
Yeah, stall.
Notice how quiet it is. It's just peaceful. Oh, I wish I was a quick thinker this morning because I would do a prank, but
So Mary was talking about lights Because
yeah.
if you're looking at our video, you can
Yes.
see our faces unless we look up at the light.
Unless we look back,
Right.
look up into the light. You can't see us very well.
Yeah. Well,
that may
it's
be
also
good, though.
because we have hats on.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
one
not
reason.
taking. Sorry, I'm not taking.
No,
my
but I
hat.
agree.
Yeah.
We could put some front lights facing us.
Or just something that kind of.
The thing is, all my lights I'm pretty much using right now.
I might have some, and then if you can kind of put a filter in front of it, so it's not like just shining directly on us, but it's just diffusing the light.
Yeah.
Then we'll.
You know, I watched a video that Steve Cherubino put together. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
He's
a musician.
He is.
Yeah.
But he's also the guy that started, I think he started Podnuts.
Okay.
Or one of the main guys for Podnuts.
Yeah.
And now he turned it over to Steve McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Door to Door Geek.
Yeah.
But anyway, Steve Cherubino, he did a video on producing your own video podcast and stuff.
Oh,
and that was
okay.
one of the things he said is you need to have good light, front facing, not behind you,
not above
and
you,
not as much above like we have here.
Yeah.
So
are you telling me that we are not following any of his rules?
Pretty much.
Because if you look behind us, it looks like we're in some museum that is closed.
It's closed, yeah.
It's got sheets on stuff. No.
Well,
that just hides them.
So what he was saying is you take lights.
Yeah.
And those lights on a stick or a tree, tree lights, is that what they call it? Where there's like 3 lights coming off of one pole coming up, and you can direct them in different areas.
Sure.
So you can have them
either
at you or slightly off.
I've seen them with 3 and 5 lights, and they're kind of you can manipulate them.
Right.
How they shine.
You know what he used as a diffuser? He took a piece of white paper and put it over it and taped it on, so that it gets the more of like just general lighting instead of right at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what we have here, we have no diffuser on my light right now.
And Matt has returned.
I have.
So, you just seem so much more
relaxed. I was gonna bust. Couldn't make it.
Oh my God! Well, good. Glad you took care of business.
All
right. Well, I guess it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. So it's the end of the show. So you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This was episode 127.
Localhost.
127.0.0.1. No place like home.
Yeah, but what is it? IPv6.
FE80.
Yeah, FE80.
There you go. All right, you guys are on top of it.
No, it's : FE80.
There you go. That's.
I thought of : after. I thought it was FE80 : and then your MAC address.
You might be right.
All right.
Anyway, this is Tony Bemis,
Matt Enders,
and Mary Tomich
saying, "Have a good fortnight. See you next fortnight." That really irritates the shit out of me.
Well, we might have to make an adjustment.
Well, I can't think of anything else to say. What else is there to say?
Yeah. I don't know. See you in a couple of weeks.
I guess so. All right.
Oh.
Bye.
Have a good New Year.